Hello and welcome to the Better in Business podcast. I got an email the other day from a business buddy and she asked me if I had some content on direct marketing. And so I have created this podcast just for you and actually for the bookkeepers in my strategic bookkeeper network as well. So I'm going to dive into all of this in this episode. And if you are wondering how to use direct marketing or what it is and just how to do better in business generally as well, okay? Because I'm a holistic business coach. And so while I'm going to dive into direct marketing, what to do if you're targeting local businesses or residences, what to do if you're going national and more, I'm also going to give you the foundation of the house, okay? Because it is so important that you improve your overall business acumen around all the things that you need to do in your business to find success. So with all of that said, let's jump into discovering a little more about how to use direct marketing in your business to build your business. You've tuned into the Better in Business podcast, and I'm your host, Jeannie Savage. I'm a multi-award winning business veteran and head of the Strategic Bookkeeper Network. My network of strategic bookkeepers is dedicated to helping entrepreneurs do better in business. This podcast aims to challenge your thinking. If you're not thinking the right way, how can you act the right way? Each episode will dive into key drivers of success, which I also call the rules of the game. Learn the rules and play to win. Let's go. I like to start every episode by reminding you that it is globally recognized that pillar number one for success is up-to-date, accurate bookkeeping, which is the only way you can see how your business is performing in terms of profit and cash. If your books aren't right up to date, visit betterinbusiness.global, drop me a line and I'll connect you with a certified strategic bookkeeper. Fire your bookkeeper and hire a strategic bookkeeper. Bookkeeping is a cost, whereas strategic bookkeeping is an investment that averages a 10x return on the fees. So I'm creating this content for entrepreneurs generally, but also for my bookkeepers. What's prompted me to create this content is I'm working with an entrepreneur at the moment, as well as bookkeepers. One of the entrepreneurs, I am helping him to build an audience so that we can nurture that audience with nurture assets to become a pipeline of prospective clients who either buy from him or tell others about him. Right now, as I record this audio content, I am working with my bookkeepers in a business development challenge. And one of our bookkeepers, she has a private Facebook group she's just set up, and she asked me how she could get people into that group. In terms of breaking things down in the science, I'm coming across to look at a mind map that I've got here, which shows a whole lot of stuff. On the left-hand side, it's kind of what do you need to really have nailed before a prospective client that I call a PC knocks on the door to maximize the opportunity that exists. Because oftentimes from the get-go, entrepreneurs are just getting it wrong. Yeah. So one of the big ones is pricing system, pricing strategy, and productized services. Okay. And I'm not going to go into all that in this audio, but suffice to say that there is a range of things that you should really have ready as like the foundation of your house before you even answer the door to a PC, a prospective client. Okay. And then the right-hand side is the process of generating new business in my practice. And direct marketing is one of many ways we can generate new business in your business, or as I said, in my bookkeeping practice, whether you're a plumber or a bookkeeper, etc. Okay. So in terms of direct marketing, the thing I'm going to focus on right now is using social media generally, but in this, I'm going to focus on Facebook and the multitude of ways that we can be using them. And I'm going to be doing this audio literally while I'm on the job working with an entrepreneur, helping him to build an audience, okay? Because what we want to do is a 3-step process. In any business, we want to build an audience before we solve a problem for that audience. Yeah. And how we solve that problem is either with products or with time or with information or with a combination of all of them. And honestly, you should write that down on your mirror. So build an audience, solve a problem, do it with information, time, or products, or a combination of all of them. That, my friends, is something that I've developed, okay, personally, a 3-step process. Absolutely the thing that most entrepreneurs miss is they go to market ready, willing, able, wanting to solve the problem, but then they struggle the entire time with building the audience, so that they have lots of people that want their products, their services, their information, and are willing to pay money for it. And I'll give you another example of that. So I personally run a couple of income generating businesses, and then I have some hobby businesses as well that will probably turn into income generating ones. I'm the classic entrepreneur who, if we were going to define entrepreneur, which we could define it many ways, an entrepreneur sees an opportunity and commercializes it. So in my 2 income generating businesses, so one of them's about 14 years old and one of them is less than a year old. So in the one that is less than a year old, the first thing I ever did was build the audience. Okay, that's where I spent all my time and energy. I knew exactly how I wanted to solve the problem and I wanted to use information to solve that problem. Okay, but in terms of building audience, now that I'm about 9 or 10 months in, and I've kind of slowed down on putting energy into building the audience, which means the audience isn't really getting any bigger as my focus is on solving that problem for all the beautiful clients that have given me money, right? So I know that because I've stopped putting energy into building the audience, when I want to solve that problem for more people, I'm not going to have that audience there. So if I want to solve that problem for more people, I'm going to have to do more audience generating activities, okay? And if you need to listen to this audio 10 times to educate yourself, I'm probably teaching you something that almost nobody globally will teach you, and it really is often the missing link. And one of the many reasons that entrepreneurs, unfortunately 9 out of 10 will either go broke within 5 years or never earn as much as they could in a job, okay? Heads up, one of the other big things is pricing system. And the first person you need to put on your team is a strategic bookkeeper. So before we jump into direct marketing, I'll just mention that, as I said, I'm doing a business development challenge for the bookkeepers in the business I run, which is called the Strategic Bookkeeper. What I am helping them with there is to generate new business. And to generate new business in your business, finding new clients is one way, but the way that you should absolutely focus on to begin with is your database. Okay, so generating a new business from people that you either already serve or you have served before by keeping in touch with them in a passive and active way is what I call leveraging diamonds at your feet. Now, a customer or even a past customer is 10 times more likely to buy from you than someone cold and someone new, okay? There's already rapport. They already know, like, and trust you, okay? So when I'm working with bookkeepers, we're doing this quite intensively at the moment, okay? So passively keeping in touch with people is like via email, via text message, whereas actively is where you might actually reach out to someone more bespoke one-on-one, okay? So if you are not already organized around your database and keeping in touch with everyone on a periodic basis, which is a bit different for everyone. For example, for a car detailer, I would recommend that they're sending all of their database a text message automated. So that would be a bulk blanket text message once a month, just to keep in touch, say hi, remind everyone that they are there. That's what I call manners marketing, making sure anyone that wants to use them can book in with ease. It's very convenient, okay? every business is a little bit different. So if you are not organized around your database and keeping in touch with everyone, drop me a line. I can connect you with a strategic bookkeeper who can actually help you with that, because a strategic bookkeeper can help you do better in business generally. Okay, so they're going to be able to help you use your numbers to make business decisions, but they can also help you with those business decisions and what you need to do. We are admin ninjas and my strategic bookkeepers are qualified to help you do better in business more generally. So in terms of direct marketing, we've kind of taken a step back and first looked at the importance around, rather than going out to hunt for new business, really spending that time and energy nurturing and keeping in touch with your existing clients, your past clients, your inactive clients, everyone on your database, okay? And then in terms of direct marketing, there's tons that we can do. And I'm just going to talk service businesses right now. So traditional service-based businesses like trades and professional services, okay? So let's use those ones as an example. And then let's further categorize those into businesses that either service a kilometre radius, so they service a local area kilometre radius, or businesses that serve the entire country. And usually the one, well, almost always, the one that services a geographical area is because they need to either go to the residences or businesses, or those people are coming to them. So think plumbers, electricians, where you're actually delivering services where you have to be with the person. Whereas when you're serving your entire country, it's because you're working more virtually and remotely, just like bookkeepers and strategic bookkeepers and architects and people like this do, okay? So we're going to categorize that down, because the direct marketing activities that you do, depending on which category you're in, are going to be different. For example, direct marketing for a plumber, for an electrician who serves residences. So let's talk about a plumber who does what I call fast field work for homes, for homeowners. Then I would absolutely recommend that they saturate their 5 kilometre radius in direct marketing. And on my Better in Business Society private Facebook group, which you can join, so just have a look on Facebook, Better in Business Society. Not long ago, I did some video content. So I did some live videos, and I actually put a photo in there of something that a tradie had sent as an ideal example of direct marketing when you saturate your 5 kilometre radius, okay? So what I see with that kind of plumber is it's easy for them to fall into the trap of wanting to do the big grand things first and spend a lot of money on digital advertising, digital marketing agencies before thinking about kicking it old school, as I like to say, and remembering that we are serving really our 5 kilometre radius is ideal if you're that kind of business, okay? And so kicking it old school and doing a really great, authentic, valuable letterbox drop and maybe doing it, a lot, doing that letterbox drop multiple times, because I don't recommend that once is enough. Yeah, I recommend that we do it multiple times, but all letterbox drops aren't created equal. So when you look at my Facebook group, you are going to see a picture of an ideal marketing campaign done as a letterbox drop, exactly how it was done, okay, and why it is strategic and why it works. So doing that on a 5 kilometre radius is doable, right? But if you're going to think about you're going after an entire country, well, that's not the kind of strategy you go for. So marketing principles often don't change. Like, there are core marketing principles that remain the same, but the application of them does as the economic, tech and consumer landscape changes. And I'm a real futurist, and I love the economic, tech and consumer landscape, okay? And I actually love that old school principles often remain the same, but the application changes, because I actually love change, and this is like a hobby for me as well as a job. And so I find all this fascinating. For example, what will never change is that we want to get to know someone, we want to know, like, and trust them, we want to do business with people that we like, that kind of thing, okay? The concept of local area marketing will never change, but the application will. There was a time as bookkeepers, we tended to work as local area marketing people or local area service, and now we don't. So things change in the application. There was a time Facebook didn't exist, and now it does, okay? But also the way we use Facebook these days and all social media is very different. The savviest marketing people, and I'm going to include myself in that, know that for an entrepreneur, social media is now your new networking room, and you should show up that way. So the way I have my social media, and it's locked down, nobody can post on my Facebook page but me. First and foremost, as an entrepreneur, it's my new networking room, okay? So just like a networking event where I walk in, I shake people's hands, I look them in the eyes, I get to know, like, and trust them, find out all about them, and then if they've got a problem that I can solve, I'm there to provide them with information about me, about what I do, and to really help them solve those problems. Okay, so networking is a beautiful, beautiful experience where we get to know people, we get to have our problems solved, and we get to solve problems for others. And when you are an entrepreneur, not when you work in a job, totally different, not talking to those people. When you are an entrepreneur, your social media, your Facebook, etc., it is the digital networking room. Okay, so on my social media, I build a network of business buddies, and I make sure that we're appropriate, and depending on the kind of business you're in, we're appropriate. Everybody knows that if they have got a problem that I can solve, they know a bit about that, how they can reach out to me, my profile, and so on. Okay, and just recently, I got 2 messages through social media for friends that would like me in my bookkeeping practice that my right hand primarily runs to solve problems for them. Okay, so I guess I've said enough about that, social media being the new networking room. So back to direct marketing. So in terms of the kind of direct marketing that you can do, depending on whether you are targeting that local 5 kilometers radius and maybe a bit more, but think of that radius as like a dartboard and then it spreads out from there, okay? Because all businesses want to minimize the time that they have to spend on any marketing activity or job, and they want to maximize their efficiencies, because in terms of generating more profit in your business, because we don't want to focus on generating just revenue should be actually a byproduct of focusing on generating profit, because you can potentially double your profitability by improving your pricing system, your pricing strategy, your productized services, your standard operating procedures, your technology, your efficiency, by stepping up as an A leader, as an A manager, and so on. I can walk into a business, and I've done it before many times, walk into a business and I actually halt their turnover and I focus on all this other stuff. And before I know it, I've helped them go from bankruptcy to 7 figures. Okay, so you need to focus on profit rather than revenue. Okay, yes, revenue goes up naturally if you're bringing on new business, that is either new clients or new business from existing clients, but revenue is not where it's at. Net profit is where it's at. Okay. So direct marketing and Facebook, I know that we're 17 minutes into this and I'm kind of just going into that now, but I am absolutely a holistic business coach and I wanted to make sure that we had a bit of groundwork. So now the rest is going to be easier. So the direct marketing, I've given you an idea of an activity around local area marketing and letterbox drops that is kicking it old school, but a fantastic forgotten direct marketing activity. Direct marketing activities will often only yield a 1 to 3% result. So let's say you hit 100 of your ideal audience with a direct marketing activity. If you get 1 paying customer out of that, you're doing well. Okay. Whereas if you are working with existing customers with your database, you can often expect to get a better result. So with direct marketing, please know that the metrics are 1 to 3%. Okay. In one of my businesses, we get a 6 to 7% result. Why do we get that? Well, that's about your pitch and your offer, your understanding of your market's problem. It's about starting with you and then the who, where, why. Now, my strategic bookkeeper network, they all get trained in this by me. So if if you want help from us and you want to be able to get 6 to 7% conversion rate rather than 1 to 3, then slowly but surely, if you're prepared to play the long game and work with us, we can help you with that, okay? But a great direct marketing activity for some businesses is to use Facebook groups. So when we work with you around start with you and then who, where, why, when you really, really, really understand yourself and then you really, really understand who you are serving. So you would have heard of target market and niche, right? And then there's micro niche, which is like the heavens opening. So when you really understand who you're serving, then you can go and look for where all these beautiful people exist in one place. So remember I talked about the letterbox drop. All those beautiful people that you can help exist in a 5-kilometer radius that you can saturate with your message in an authentic, not salesy, not marketing way, because we've seen the death of marketing, the rise of PR. Selling is dead, self-assessing is in. So you should never be selling. You should be seeking to serve, seeking to help people self-assess their demand and desire to use you. And there's steps to that. Again, reach out to me. This is something that we can do a bit of a complimentary results call around. One of my strategic book givers can, and then we can give you some diagnostic tools and we can help you personally self-assess what you need to do next, okay? But basically, when you truly understand the who, who are you really targeting? Who is your ideal customer? Then you look at where they exist. So I'm going to give you an example. So I'm working with an entrepreneur right now and he serves the whole of Australia, okay? And one of his ideal who's is, say, women over about 40 that have superannuation, because he loves to help women to use their superannuation to become property owners, to invest in property. And that comes from his you. So he was raised by a single mum that made her wealth by investing in property from early. She worked in financial services and he's ended up working in financial services with a passion for helping women to invest their super in property. So now that we understand his who, and there's a bit more behind the scenes, when we look for where they all are, we can look to Facebook groups, and I'm looking at one now, for example, where we find all those people in like 10,000 of them in one Facebook group, okay? So now that we've found where everyone is, so let's compare those. You've got your 5-kilometer radius with all the homes that a plumber could do the plumbing in. In this case, we've found 10,000 people in a Facebook group. They're all women, and in this case, they're women in business. Okay, so if you search Women in Business Australia in Facebook and then you went to groups, you'll see all the different groups that exist that have got all the beautiful community of women in business. This is just a basic example. Okay, so just like the homes, we've found people in the digital world all in one place, okay? And then what we need to look at is, well, how could we talk to these beautiful humans and really help them self-assess whether they've got a problem that we'd like to solve for them, okay? And that is another form of direct marketing. I think it's one of the biggest and best and most powerful forms of direct marketing. But I'm going to go a little bit further and give you a little bit more information on that, okay? So when you go here, ultimately you've almost found a networking room, okay? And just like that letterbox drop, if we drop, 10,000 homes and we do it maybe 4 times, we would be hoping for a 1 to 3% return on that investment of time and money, okay? So with this group, something about networking that's important to know is that networking outside of Business Networking International or other groups that are very structured and meet weekly and have processes, 100% of business owners go to sell and 0% go to buy. So when I'm looking in this group, for example, I can see lots of entrepreneurs posting what they want to sell. But I can tell you right now that not many people are really interested in reading that, because it's all about me. It's all about what's in it for me, right? That's what your customers, your clients think. That's what you think when you are going to market. So I don't recommend just willy-nilly posting things or looking for people posting for looking for someone. I recommend being far more strategic, okay? So in effect, what you want to do is I'm going to go back to the mind map. and remind you that we want to build the audience. So in this case, you've found an audience. Okay. So it's like, woohoo, I found some people and they're my people. And I know that for a percentage of them, I can solve this problem, just like that 5-kilometer radius homes, right? I found my audience. There they all are. Now, once you've found the audience, you need to find a way to capture that audience onto your database, okay, as much as possible. And the way that you're going to do that is with what I call welcome line nurture assets. They also get called lead magnets. I hate that phrase. To me, it is terrible. I don't want to be a magnet for leads. That is icky. What I want to do is I want to welcome my audience through the door for cheese and crackers before I suggest a main meal. I want to welcome my audience to get to know, like, and trust me. I want to give them value in order to build a rapport with them so that they can get value and then self-assess their demand and desire to interact with me more, possibly give me money to solve the problem, or just tell everyone else about how fabulous I am, okay? So in this case, if you are, for example, professional services, and as I said, with all businesses, this can be different. So if you want help bespoke to your business, reach out. We'll give you some free stuff, okay? One of my strategic bookkeepers will, but then we'll just help you self-assess and work out what you need to do next. And then if you want to give us money to help you, you can, okay? But I think you're getting how I feel about sales these days. I think old school sales is dead. We're in the information age where we give people information and help them self-assess. So a really great nurture asset for some businesses can be an event, okay? So for my strategic bookkeepers, a free training or an event can be a wonderful way to provide a database with value to help them do better in business, to allow them to get to know us more, okay? And when we serve up that beautiful welcome line nurture asset event, and we do it by connecting with the admin of a group like that on Facebook that have 10,000 members, then we are able to work with what I call the shepherd. If we were saying that this beautiful group was like a flock of sheep, then the admin are the shepherds of the beautiful fluffy white sheep. So we would go to the admin and we would really talk to them about how we might work together to provide value to this beautiful audience. Now, an event, for example, as a way to direct market is a way to invite that audience to get on your database. So when they register for the event, they're going to get on your database. And then once they're on the database, they've told you, I've got an itch that I want you to scratch. Okay, so they've told you, I've got a problem that I want you to solve. So you've used a welcome line nurture asset to take that audience and get them onto your database. And then that welcome line nurture asset also provides them with value so that they can get to feel and experience your value before they actually decide to part with some of their hard-earned cash and allow you to help them do better in business or life, depending on whether you're dealing with business to business or business to consumer, but the same theory applies. So just to reiterate, I don't recommend that you simply start posting in these groups because that won't get you anywhere. I recommend that you do what I call create an evergreen advocacy partnership. So that's also known as partnership marketing. So the admins of those groups can be ideal to create a partnership with. A little side note on that, when you start with you, okay, that is my concept where we write your brand story, etc., or you write your brand story facilitated by someone like me. When we start with you and we really connect the problem you're solving and what you do to your brand story and who you are, you'll find that, like I talked about, 6 or 7% of my audience buy rather than 1 to 3%. That's because I'm clear on my why, and my why begins with my brand story. Okay, so when you start with you and then you're clear about the who, where, why, that's going to help you get results here. And when I talked earlier about you can increase your profitability by being more efficient, if you can get results faster, and better conversion rates, etc., than spending tons of time and money trying to get a result and get lower results, results, well, then you're able to increase your profitability much more in a shorter space of time. And that is working a lot smarter. Whereas if you focus solely on generating revenue, but you're hustle and grind and not working smart, then that is how you profit bleed. Okay. And if all of that sounds like what the heck is she talking about, I probably do recommend that you reach out to us so that we can give you some diagnostic tools and just have a complimentary chat. Because if you're realizing that there's a whole lot of stuff that you don't know, as an entrepreneur, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is your responsibility to educate yourself slowly over time. And that's how you're going to win the game of business. Okay. So we've talked about direct marketing, and then I've forayed into partnership marketing, which is just one of the absolute best forms of marketing that you can ever do. Okay. There are lots of other forms of direct marketing that you can do. For example, Facebook advertising is direct marketing, okay? There's lots and lots of other stuff that you can do. Unfortunately, I see a lot of entrepreneurs spend a lot of time and money on marketing activities that either don't work or the return on investment isn't enough to justify it, okay? There is absolutely a place for spending money, but it will not work if you don't nail your you, your who, your where, your why, your brand, your strategic foundation, and so on. So reach out to me. I'll give you a bit more information on that, or my network certainly will, as I am at capacity as a coach personally. So let's wrap this content up. Okay. So when I started recording this content, I was recording it more generally for the Better in Business Global Academy, which you can certainly reach out and ask me about. So let's wrap this podcast up with what action you're going to take. So whether you are a strategic bookkeeper, you are a plumber, you are an architect, you are whatever business you're running, I think the action that you need to take is first to think about who you're going to serve. Yeah. So are you serving locally? Are you serving nationally? Yeah. So that's definitely probably one of the actions that I want you to take. The next action, I guess, is you've got to decide how much sense this made to you, because if a lot of it was new and you're thinking, oh my goodness, I realize there's more I don't know than I do know. I don't even know what starting with you means. I've never heard of brand story. What the hell is my who, where, why? Probably the next action is to drop me a line so that I can connect you with a strategic bookkeeper who can give you a business health check, give you a now future analysis. These are free tools, okay, that don't take long. They can give you a free results call that will allow you just to get some personal recommendations free of charge. And then after that, you'll have a whole lot of information. You'll have that beautiful strategic bookkeeper there to keep in touch with. And if you ever want to pay the money to help you go a bit beyond that, to help you do better in business, they'll be there, okay? But we absolutely want to give you some free content, some free help, because we want to show you the value that we have for you, okay? So that you can simply self-assess whether you want to work with us in the future. But we're always going to do those things. So I think that is the next best action that I can give you, okay? So I think that's a wrap on some information about direct marketing and how you're going to make it work in the mix of the foundation of your house, okay? We'd love to speak to you and help you more, and I'll see you in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed that episode as much as I enjoyed recording it. I would love to help you start doing better in business right now by giving you a free little ebook. It's a how-to guide. It's called The 7 Deadly Cash Flow Sins. And also I've developed a business health check for you. It's super high value. Both are available at betterinbusiness.global. If you would like to fire your bookkeeper and hire a strategic bookkeeper to start enjoying a return on investment and get the support you need to optimize your business cash and profit and time wealth, simply visit betterinbusiness.global, drop me a line, and I'll connect you with a certified strategic bookkeeper near you. I'll see you in the next episode.